All right, I've been working on this a little bit throughout the day. Lots of distractions today. So I'm digging the way that it's looking here at the bottom. I'm using my bridge, okay, and working the whole drawing at once. So, basically where we left off last drawing was we talked about, making these little pencil strokes in the background be very, very, very short. And when we go into the background, you don't see as much detail. That's like the main thing that you guys want to take into consideration when you're doing any type of landscape. When we go into the background, things get diffused. Now, over here in the foreground, I'm using longer pencil strokes. Now, this is crucial that you just continually step back. I've stepped back a lot today from the drawing. Not because I've wanted to, but because I was kind of forced to with distractions, and making much longer grass. And we left you last, and I mentioned to all of you that you want this grass to be, I want this grass to be a little bit longer, a little bit more unruly, so it doesn't look so manicured. And when the longer grass gets, depending on what type of grass it is, it's going to fall. It's going to kind of be weighted down by gravity. And then you have, if this is a farm or a place, a barn where people work, long grass will be stepped on and it'll be kind of, totally plowed over, and it'll be leaning to one side. So pretty much that's what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of doing these pencil strokes where I'm going sideways with this. Now, I'm not pressing down hard on this pencil at all, because I want to keep in mind that this is the light part of the compositional shape. The only place where I'm going a little bit more contrasty right now is the lower 2 inches of this light compositional shape, because the lower 2 inches is really in the foreground, and this is where I could have a little bit of contrast and it'll be okay. I'll keep the integrity of like the compositional shape. So I'm just coming on in here. I'm kind of wrapping around like this, and I'm not sitting here trying to count like every single blade of grass, but you want to still think of, this is going to sound really strange, but you kind of got to think about surface planes when you're doing it. So one grouping of like this grass in the light would lay over, and then you'd have like top part of like another grouping of tall grass, and then you'd have like the front plane of it. So the front plane of it would be a little bit darker. So you have like these little waves of like light and dark, light and dark. This is kind of like almost what I'm doing. I'm drawing like waves of the wind blowing the grass to a certain extent. It's not super tall like wheatgrass or something like that. So that's what I'm doing right now, and you want to be conscious. You don't want to start using your blacks here. Just a couple of them, just to like punch it up, add a little bit of the contrast. And then you can slow up. Still want to go darker here. And continue with what I just spoke about in the shadow. When I look at this photo, there is a definitive shadow shape, and I really want to keep that because I dig its compositional aspects in terms of the perspective line. Let me, if I won't zoom in on this one, I'm just going to work the whole drawing. So now I can come on over here. And do a little bit of the tall grass in the shadow. And then basically the back half of the cast shadow, you're going to have this dark grass going into the light. And then this foreground part, which is barely on the camera screen, is going to be light going into the dark. I hope that makes sense. So this would be like my darkest dark, but I don't want to have it too dark. If we remember way back when at the beginning of this, I mentioned that I was going to cheat and I wasn't going to match the value of the cast shadow because I didn't want my eye to go there. So soon I'm going to have to, I'm going to do some more of this, a lot more of this off camera. Again, I'm just trying to film the parts that I think are relevant that you can actually learn from and that are somewhat interesting to watch me do this. I'm not filming this whole tutorial. I just want to reiterate that. So just as we go into the background, we are going to just get middle tone strokes. I just want you to kind of see what my hand movement is as I do this. And, let me just kind of push a little bit more. Now I could just add, I could be adding like little flower things. Little like different types of leaves. I know in my front lawn, which is okay, it's manicured okay, but sometimes I get like these different types of weeds and stuff, and they're all different weird types of flowers that grow, clover flows. So if it's wild grass, you're going to be getting a lot of that stuff. Okay, so just going back in here. Gotta have a sharp pencil. Gotta have a lot of patience for this. I mean, again, I know I mentioned this a lot in the tutorials as of late. And what do I mention? I mention that it's all about lifestyle. It's all about the style of your drawings and you picking and choosing what satisfies you. This really satisfies me to do like these long drawings, long paintings, and it pretty much has satisfied me my whole life. Some people, this would be like agony for them, and they're like, are you kidding me? You're doing all these different blades of grass. But again, it's not about sitting here, and this is not tedious for me, because I enjoy it, and it kind of gives me like peace, and I get to just chill out. It's my form of meditation. Now I know that I've mentioned that a lot in a lot of blog posts and videos, but I think I have to re-mention it right now because just the doing of the blades of grass this is a lot of work, and I just dig it because I like the way that it comes out, and I like the process, and it kind of calms me down with all the stuff going on in life between school, family, all that stuff, stresses. This is a way to get rid of like stress. I mean, if I wasn't filming this tutorial, I'd have the music blasting right now. And again, there's a need for this stuff. There's always a need for detailed stuff. Whether you're a fine artist and you're selling your work in a gallery, people just want to have this stuff that is quality, that takes a long time, hanging in their house. Or if you're not a fine artist, maybe you're an illustrator, and that particular series of books, the art director really wants to have some really high-end, detailed illustrations on the front of the books. There's a need for this stuff, and so don't discount it and be like, well, how are you making money? People make money in many, many different ways, and you just got to say to yourself, I'm going to make money doing the type of illustration that I want. Come hell or high water, I'm going to find my little niche and I'm going to make this happen. And people do that. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, but people do it every single day. So you can see the grass is starting to come along. It's starting to look a little bit more rustic. I think this part where I'm pointing right now is extremely weak. Where am I going next with this tutorial? I'm going to continue with the grass. Don't know. I'll probably do the barn on like a separate tutorial, even though it'll still be landscape. It'll be wood texture part. Really just focusing in on like the grass part right now. So I'm going to do a few more of these blades of grass. And notice how when they go back, they just keep getting diffused. This is just going to be empty over here. And then I'll put some leaves in and stuff like that. So we'll be back.